Welcome to the Horror Unmasked podcast,
where we unmask the monsters
and explore the lore.
I'm Amber.
I'm Lily, and today we'll be dissecting
The Shining.
Let's check in.
A man named Jack Torrance gets hired at the Overlook Hotel in Colorado for him and his family to watch over the establishment during the winter. During his interview, Jack's employer tells him about the previous caretaker, Delbert Grady, who supposedly got cabin fever and killed his entire family.
And then himself.
Yep.
Yeah,
that shit was brutal.
Shot his brains out.
That shit was brutal.
Yep.
After arriving, the Torrance family gets a tour of the hotel, and immediately strange things begin to happen. Danny, Jack's son, meets with the head chef of the hotel, Richard Halloran, who talks to Danny about something called The Shining, which is the ability to communicate telepathically and see past and future events, and warns him about room 237.
Wrong. That's not the right room number. Come on, Mr. Kubrick. Anyway, not my business. The days go by as the Torrance family stays at the hotel, where Danny wanders the halls and has scary visions of blood, 2 dead little girls, and his father hurting him and his mom, Wendy. Meanwhile, Jack starts to get extremely aggressive with Wendy, who is very concerned with everything that has been happening and wants to leave the hotel. Jack has also been seeing things, entire parties of people that aren't really there, who stayed and worked at the hotel many years ago, but are now dead, including the previous caretaker of the hotel who killed his family. Delbert tells Jack about Danny's abilities with The Shining, and that he has been using those abilities to communicate with Richard for help. Jack breaks the radio and the only contact to the outside world, and the only vehicle to get through the snow, as Richard takes a flight to Colorado to try and save Danny and Wendy.
Spoiler warning. Skip ahead. Scared of Jack's aggressiveness, Wendy grabs a bat, hits him over the head, and locks him in the pantry. Jack escapes and knocks the bedroom door down with an axe, as Danny and Wendy try to escape through the bathroom window, blocked by snow. Danny gets out, but Wendy doesn't fit through the window, so she hides in the bathroom with a knife as Jack breaks the door down. Jack hears Richard finally arrive at the hotel in another snow vehicle and finds him in the hotel, putting the axe in his chest.
He did.
Jack then finds Danny outside, who runs into a giant maze to hide. Danny finds his way back out of the maze and runs into his mom, who gets in Richard's vehicle and makes their escape, leaving Jack in the maze, who never finds his way out and freezes to death.
Cut to that one picture
of him, yeah,
just
looking derpy as shit.
Yep.
We then see an old photo from a party in 1921, where Jack is front and center. The end. Yeah.
Yep.
So this movie was released May 23rd, 1980. The director is Stanley Kubrick. Distributed by Warner Bros., Columbia Pictures, Warner Bros. Pictures, Lumiere Pictures, and Television.
Yes.
I do not have the budget or box office, so what you got for me?
Honestly, not a whole lot. I mean, $15 million for the budget, and then in the box office, it only made $47 million, which honestly for 1980
money, pretty good.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a fucking cult classic. It's like one of the ones that's very prominent.
I think it's my best friend's favorite horror movie.
Also referenced in so many video games, movies, TV shows, all sorts of shit. Like, it is prolific. The carpet everywhere. The carpet everywhere. The number everywhere. Red rum everywhere.
Everywhere.
All work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. Everywhere.
That was such a... Okay, so when I was rewatching this...
The fact that he wrote that over and over and over and over and over again?
Yeah.
Because he's a writer.
Yeah. His main thing is he wants to, like, write...
Yeah.
Like, plays and film things.
And all he'd been spending that whole time writing
was... Yeah.
All work and no play makes Jack a dull boy.
Makes dull a Jack boy.
Dull a Jack boy.
Dull a Jack boy. All right. Yeah. So that was the budget and box office.
Mm-hmm.
It's a pretty long movie. It's like 2.5 hours, 146 minutes.
Yeah. Was it or both?
Yes. I realized I did both and immediately... Yeah.
That's getting left fucking.
No?
Because that is so funny. You were like, motherfucker, yeah. I did them both. Both.
Yeah. The thing is, like, my mouth is so watery right now, and all I want to do is go...
You got a wham. It's for wham, guys.
It's
for
my
wham.
Wham. I can't help it.
Or ass mouth.
It's wham or wham. Because it's like whop or whap or whatever the fuck you want to call it. Anyway, yes, this movie is very prolific. It has an 83% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Not surprised.
No. Me, however,
I
kind of am. But we'll get into that as we read through this. Some main actors for us.
Yeah.
We got Jack. Jack Nicholson as Jack Torrance. We have Danny, who is Danny Lloyd as Danny Torrance.
Which is perfect.
Yeah. Again! Jesus Christ. Shelley Duvall. Hello, I'm Shelley Duvall as Wendy. And then we have Scatman Crothers as Dick Halloran. Or Richard Halloran, however you want to say it. Personally,
Crothers.
If anyone decided that their name was Dick, that's kind of a...
All Richards.
Yeah.
Are Dick. Which is fucking hilarious.
You're calling your dad a dick, bro.
That's the
grandpa.
Short name. That's the short name for it.
Wow. Which I don't understand.
Including Dickie.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
Why did Richard
Dickie is funny.
Turn to Dick?
I want to know
who the fuck decided that.
I want to meet someone and like be someone's friend whose name is Dickie. Cause
I know people who are Richard or stuff like that.
Okay, but
Dick
imagine me going
name.
up to your father and be like, "What up, Dickie?"
I mean, my nana calls him Ricky.
Ricky Dickie. This is so off topic. That's fine.
Oh shit, that's so funny.
What
Love you, Dad.
What we lose in the summary, we gain in the fun.
Exactly.
I suppose.
Oh shit.
God. So you got some movie facts.
I got a lot
for
of
me?
shit.
Yes, please.
Got a lot of shit.
Share.
Thankfully, because of how old this film is and how raked over the coals this film is with information.
There's a lot. And there's still,
shit.
like, I have, like, pages saved for the next one when we do Dr. Sleep. So.
I mean, shit, this one's... There was probably... I could have gone even longer, to be honest. There's so much for this.
Yeah.
So, obviously, Stanley Kubrick had a very specific visual for this film. And he had complete control over the look. And he was actually revered for his perfectionism for this. So it's interesting to note The Shining is an adaptation of Stephen King's novel of the same name.
Yes.
And those first 3 minutes of the movie that were filmed of them going up the mountain and everything was actually photographed without Stephen Kubrick being there, which was interesting. Because the opening sequence of the lake and the road were filmed in Glacier National Park in Montana, north of St. Mary's Lake, on the Go to the Sun Road.
I was rewatching it, and it reminded me of everyone has seen these videos if you are like around my age or older. Like those videos of okay, how do I explain this? Where it's like a nice scenic drive.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden something scary pops up at the end.
Yes. The ones that you see of videos of like parents putting it on the TV to scare their kids.
Yeah. It's like a beautiful mountainside drive, and then all of a sudden
zombie face.
Yep. Yeah. Skeleton.
Yep.
It's just a freaky
Intentional
jump scare.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I was watching this, and that was what I was expecting. I was like, is it coming? I don't know.
So Greg McGilvery was the helicopter cameraman who actually did the shot of that. And the Timberland Lodge was used for the exterior shots of the Overlook Hotel, which is a real place that you can go to. I actually had a YouTuber who had her wedding there.
Wow.
Because she loved horror movies and all this kind of stuff. So they had a whole thing. And the Timberland Lodge site is on the south side of Mount Hood in Oregon, approximately 60 miles east of Portland. The Stanley Hotel in Colorado was the source of inspiration for Stephen King's novel. So although Stanley Kubrick seemed much more interested in the architecture and the look of the Timberland Lodge in Oregon, the interior of the hotel, where we spend much of our time over the course of the film, were constructed at the Elstree Studios in England.
Yeah.
And using 3 different settings, Stanley Kubrick was interested in achieving a specific look for his film, obviously. And then it required him to use those different locations for these establishing scenes. In addition, constructing the interiors of the hotel and a studio provided him with full artistic control of the space, which is very important because The Shining's opening with a discussion about space. Stuart Ullman, Barry Nelson, manager of the Overlook Hotel, notes that the location of the hotel was chosen because of its seclusion.
Yeah.
And further point out that the stretch of the road leading up to the hotel is 25 miles in length.
Yeah.
Reinforcing the idea, along with the lengthy opening shot at the start of the film, that the hotel is sealed off and isolated from society. The audience, as a result, is immediately presented with an understanding of how this space is detached from civilization. There's also only a handful of scenes that take place outside.
Yeah.
Of the walls of the hotel.
It's like in the maze, and then like they're playing outside in the snow.
Yeah. It's like that very first initial, like they get there and then it's...
Yeah, when they're like being shown the hotel.
Exactly.
And it's like no snow has happened yet.
Exactly.
What is... Okay, I don't actually know what the time frame is of like how long they stay there for.
So I think it's supposed to have been like a 6 months kind of thing. It's like... Because it's supposed to be that no one's up there and then they get a caretaker for over winter time.
Yeah.
So...
And they said it was like he was supposed to be there until May 1st, and I think everybody started clearing out around like September, October.
Yeah. So it's like 6 to 9 months, roughly-ish.
Which is crazy for like your hotel is only open for that long.
Because if you get... Because that far out and you're blocked out by the snow, like it's... You are literally choosing to live there... in isolation.
Yeah.
Cabin fever, real thing. Cabin fever, terrifying.
I don't actually know what that is.
What?
Yeah. I mean, I've heard of it, obviously.
I'm shocked you didn't, like, research cabin fever for this.
Why didn't I? You know what?
We can take a pause and you can research some stuff about cabin fever. Because it's fucking wild.
Really? Okay.
Now that you've got your information on cabin fever... Hi, hello everybody. Just so you know, someone's mic wasn't on and therefore we have to redo this part. Hi. So now that you actually have your information and your mic is lit up, what did you find out about cabin fever?
Let me give you my expert knowledge. Let me drop some on you, because I've said it once now, so now I don't even have to look. Cabin fever. Cabin fever is the psychological symptoms and effects that you feel, that a person feels after being shut in their space for too long.
Yeah.
That's usually when the weather is bad, so really bad snowstorms for long periods of time, or even like hurricanes that might last for a while. However, more recently, people have felt this because of the pandemic that we were in. So not weather-based, definitely
isolation.
Just more isolation because of the world falling apart. And the origins of this aren't really known. It's from about 1900s. And it was just based on, the population was lower. So there were definitely more people in remote, isolated areas, staying in their cabins in the wintertime and being indoors. So.
And more so, our more modern interpretations of it are things like research centers in the South Pole and Antarctica, and things like that, and places in like Alaska and farther up north areas where they get pure daylight or pure nighttime, or only a handful of hours.
I don't know how they live like
a
that.
Day,
because it says that the scientists and explorers who live like that have attacked each other with hammers, poisoned each other to death, and even quit by burning their research stations to the ground.
Yeah. There's literally video games.
Yeah.
That are based on essentially like that motif.
And like, I've heard of cabin fever. I knew that it was like a sort of restlessness, but I didn't know that it was like to a violent level sometimes.
Yes. Yeah. That's the more severe version. Now, more colloquially nowadays, when people say they've got cabin fever or anything like that, people are referring to it as the lesser violent version, which is just, I'm really restless. We've just been in the same location for an extended period of time, and I'd like to like change scenery.
Yeah.
And that can be as like people camping for extended periods of time, and they're inside the log cabin for like too long, and they're like, I gotta get outside. I gotta step outside, or I'm gonna go crazy. And that's that mentality. But yeah,
thinking about it and thinking about how I lived through the pandemic, I'd be fine.
I was fine.
I was fine.
So fine.
Honestly,
you want to know how the pandemic changed my life?
Honestly,
it didn't.
Honestly, I was thriving.
Yeah.
I could stay home, do whatever I wanted. Didn't have to worry about a thing, because I was still in high school, so I didn't have to work, and I didn't have to do anything. I was in
college. The only thing that the pandemic did was fuck me over in college, but other than that, I was fine. Like, psychologically, it was no different than how I pre-existed my own life. Haha.
I mean, so I will say, as much as I loved and thrived in the pandemic, because that's just who I am. I'm an isolated being. I will say I don't think I'll ever get over not being able to have a regular prom or grad bash or graduation with my whole family or any of that. I'll never get over it. And
it's affected a lot of things like that.
Yeah. It was rough. Yeah. And it's crazy that it was like those 2 years of people, like 2020, 2021, those 2 years of people are like the only two groups of people who didn't get normal. So we're just kind of going through life
I literally completed an entire degree in COVID.
Yeah.
A photography degree where you need to be able to physically be able to do stuff. We were literally learning how to light things with like laundry baskets and cardboard and bubble wrap.
Cute.
And whatever we had at home. Because we didn't have actual studio equipment.
Yeah.
So... yeah. And the thing is what's crazy is that you can see the difference in the images for that time period.
Yeah.
Because it's with whatever we had.
I'm not going to say that, okay, maybe my wording is off. Obviously, everyone was affected by the pandemic.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm just talking about those high school moments that everyone else got. But,
yeah.
You know, that we didn't necessarily get.
Yeah.
Which is crazy because you go your whole adolescent life being promised those things.
Yep.
So we're good at
And then
adaptability.
Fucked you over.
Yeah. And
I mean, even my dad's graduation from
Yeah,
his initial... I mean, at least we got to be in the car and got to see him walk and everything,
Yeah.
but and take pictures with him afterwards. But it was very different.
Yeah.
So I'll be glad when he gets his bachelor's and everything, and he can actually walk across the stage and everything
inside with all of his peers.
Yeah. Because I mean,
and us watching from actual seats, not the car.
Because even for me, I'm fastly approaching my graduation.
It's in a month. Literally, because today's the 3rd.
Literally.
Today, yeah.
Whatsterly a month.
Yep.
So, it's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah.
I have so much to do. Because of the fact that I'm in photography and we have a thesis, I have so much shit to do.
Yeah.
It's unreal.
You're doing great.
Yeah.
You're doing great.
I got 2 last photos to work on.
You
and
got
then
it.
I am
You're going to finish.
tippity-toppidals.
You're going to be so relieved when it's all done. Celebrating.
Oh. Anyway,
All right.
let's pop back into these notesels here now that you know what cabin fever is.
Shh. I know, but I didn't know the extreme.
Yeah. And this movie is a very clear visual emphasis on an extreme, but also weird supernatural effect.
Yeah.
So, hopping back in to the design of the hotel itself. So, it emphasizes vastness, like how big it is. The high ceilings add to the overwhelming sense of powerlessness as Jack and his family become dwarfed by the size of the surrounding space. This is also mirrored with the hedge maze, which doesn't appear in the novel.
Correct.
And was created by Stanley Kubrick for the film. In the maze, the character can't find their way because it is its incredible size. And then this presents us with the notion that Stanley Kubrick's Overlook Hotel is also designed as a maze. And do you know what's really funny? Is at first, Stanley Kubrick didn't like the maze or didn't think it was big enough until he himself got lost in it. And he was like, never mind.
Never mind.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
Because when you see the little diagram of it in the fucking movie, you're like, that's unreal.
Because it's not the actual size of it. It's really not.
But all of the like fucking pathways and everything, I'm like, no, thank you.
Because they have that, and then like right before Wendy and Danny go into the maze, they also have a little picture like showing you how to get to the center, and it's like not as big as what they were showing.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
That was just an over exaggeration of like how it feels, I guess.
Yes.
Being inside the house.
And another thing, kind of in reference to the whole movie, but specifically even that scene where Jack is looking at the like model of like the maze and everything. Throughout the movie, there's a level of the way that they filmed it where they actually did a lot of centralizing. So in photography and in art, a lot of the times you refer to something as like the 3/4 rule, which is you always like have something off center.
Yeah.
Usually always. You try to do something off center unless it's like, obviously portraits are a very different thing, but like when you're photographing something or filming something, centralizing something makes it feel more symmetrical, which actually bothers people. It will actually bother you because it feels like something is off, because it's tricking the brain. So they do a lot of this intentionally in the film where they will centralize events or centralize a figure, and it adds to that unsettling and that feeling of there's something weird and off going on here, because your brain doesn't actually like seeing things centralized, which is wild.
Yeah.
Because even in photography, literally one of my last classes, we had to tell a kid that his image was too centralized and it needed to be 3/4.
Did it irritate you all? Did it offset you guys?
Because it felt weird. The spacing felt strange. So there's this mental part of us that when we're visually seeing something like that, it throws us off.
Because I guess when you're looking at things in real life, you're never like
perfectly centraled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like even looking at you right now, you're
Yeah.
off to my right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
you're not right in the middle.
Yeah. And kind of going into the idea that the Overlook Hotel itself is maze-like,
Mm-hmm.
they had a more labyrinth design of the hotel to also imply its inescapability.
Yeah.
Perhaps physically and in terms of its history. So this also brings up the themes of repetition throughout the film, an ongoing reoccurrence with the characters and narrative. So Jack saying he feels like as if he's been in the hotel before. Delbert Grady, who was played by Philip Stone, later tells Jack that he has always been the caretaker of the hotel. Jack is obviously later frozen in the maze and frozen in time in the photograph.
Yeah.
The notes in Jack's typewriter display repeated typographical variations of the same sentence.
Yeah.
All work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. But they're actually like mildly different fonts.
Why that sentence?
That I am not 100% certain about. Hold. So that phrase itself is actually a proverb that means without time off of work, a person becomes both bored and boring. Obviously, it's more shortened to all work and no play, but the real phrase is all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. Like that's actually the real, very old phrase.
Oh.
And it just became popularized after being featured in The Shining.
Mm-hmm.
So it's actually the proverb was a modern saying, first appeared in James Howell's Proverbs 1659. It has often been included in subsequent collections of proverbs and sayings. Writers have added a second part to the proverb, as in Harry and Lucy concluded 1825 by the Irish novelist Mary Edgeworth. There's all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. All play and no work makes Jack a merry toy. So it's got different phrasings and all that kind of stuff, but it's originally James Howell's proverb.
Interesting.
So, but the sentiment,
I mean, it makes sense that because it goes with the movie.
Of it became more popular due to the movie itself.
Yeah.
And even those sentences had varying type font when he had typed it up, and it was pages and pages and pages that he'd been writing it.
Yeah.
So from the moment he got there and started typing, he was typing it over and over and over again.
Which means the house already had a hold on it.
Yeah. And then the violence and history of the hotel also repeats itself with Charles Grady killing his family in 1970, and Jack later attempts to do the same with his. In addition, when Danny stumbles upon the twins, Lisa and Louis Burns, in the hallway, we hear the girls say, "Come and play with us, Danny, forever and ever and ever."
Yeah.
Further suggesting an ongoing loop within the hotel, which means obviously these people are playing out these scenes over and over and over and over and over again.
Right after that, like, Danny goes in to their room.
Yeah.
And Jack kind of takes him and he's like, I like it here. I hope we can stay forever and ever and ever. Like, immediately after he sees the twins. So
Literally.
Danny's just sitting there, like, so freaked out, like, no.
I mean, Danny's the same person who writes Red Rum.
Yeah. I guess you could say that's like Tony, though, who is, I didn't mention.
Yeah,
in the
Tony
summary.
is.
It's the boy that lives in his mouth.
It's the boy that lives in his mouth, but also I think it's got a connection to his Shining.
It does.
And it's his
I think it's his outlet.
pointer finger. Yeah.
Like, I don't think he really, because he's so young, I don't think he really understands the ability and like what it
Yeah.
is. So he uses this
It's
other
kind
person as
like it's kind of like a multi-personality disorder thing, but not, because clearly it's a separation. It's not him himself. He uses his pointer finger.
Yeah, and speaks like this.
Yeah.
It's Tony.
It's like a comfort mechanism.
Yeah.
But, you know.
And I think that's how he expresses his shine.
Yeah. Especially he expresses his shining as a child. And then, so for the scene of that hallway scene of when the trike scene of him driving around and riding around. Stanley Kubrick utilizes 6 cameras in that scene.
I was wondering. I was like, how do they...
So these include the Steadicam following Danny, which ultimately places him within the frame with the twins. A close-up shot of Danny that shows his reaction to the twins.
Yeah.
An extreme wide shot of the twins from Danny's perspective. A wide shot of the twins by itself. Not from Danny's perspective, a medium shot of the twins, as well as a wide shot of the dead twins in this scene. So Stanley Kubrick goes back and forth between these 6 setups in carefully cutting from an extreme wide shot to a wide shot and then finally to a medium shot to the girls in sequential order. He slowly draws his audience closer to the twins.
Yeah.
So you slowly get closer and closer and closer to them as the scene progresses. And it's a very quick scene, but it is.
And especially
substantial.
The flashes of them being
dead. Yeah.
You barely get to see that unless you pause it and look at it because it's such a quick, like,
it takes a moment because it flashes a couple times and then it lingers for a second and then it's gone again.
Yeah. But if you wanted a good look at it, you'd have to pause it. Like, otherwise you just... Because it feeds into the aspect of more what you imagine.
Yes.
So you see a flash of it, but...
You're like, wait, did I see that
correctly? And then your brain starts to, like, put together what it thinks it saw.
And it's, again, this movie birthed so many iconic scenes used in so many different things. Especially the scene with the twins is everywhere.
Yeah.
You will see it in everything and everywhere.
Sophie has a shirt of it.
Yeah.
Sophie is my bestie.
Movie, TV shows, all that kind of stuff. It's everywhere. Because it's very popular, man.
Yeah.
Very popular. And then obviously another very prominent and well-known scene, the bloody elevator.
Yeah.
This
is what I was waiting for.
The blood pool elevator.
Yes.
So on the day of shooting, the crew topped off the elevator compartment and then set up 4 cameras to capture the bloodbath.
Yeah.
Each camera was equipped with a different lens and a different film speed. The camera operators climbed inside the oversized wooden chest to avoid being doused in the red concoction. Time was of the essence because the elevator could not withstand the liquid for very long.
Wow.
In fact, in the movie, the elevator was starting to leak before the doors actually opened.
Honestly,
so if you look
like
closely in the film, you can see small amounts of it starting to seep through. Even though this is a mild slip up in their for them as they described it,
I think it works.
It still plays into the film's dramatic progression of evil coming forth as sanity slowly slips away from the Torrance family. And that deluge of blood was picking up things like the sofas and stuff like that.
Moving everything around.
Exactly. And it was such a violent volume of this red liquid coming at them that those of them that were there for the shoot, some of them, they were hearing, "My God, we're going to drown."
Oh my gosh.
And obviously when Stanley Kubrick saw that shot, he was very happy with it.
I'm sure. That is one of the cooler shots in the film.
Because it is fucking a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot of blood in that scene. A lot of craziness.
Yes.
Alrighty, that's my notes. So what you got for me?
I kind of figured that was the end as you leaned back and got comfy.
Yes, I did.
That was so funny.
Mm-hmm,
Okay.
mm-hmm.
So, obviously, we already talked about this movie being the adaptation of Stephen King's novel, or...
Novel.
Yeah.
It's a novel.
Because he added on to it, but, But he wrote that in 1977. And I did a little research on the book. I wish I had time to read it.
Yeah.
But, alas, his books are thick as fuck.
They're thick, yeah.
I
It's
actually don't
Stephen
know
King.
how long The Shining is, but I know it is...
Unreal.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I have to say, just with the few things I was reading about the book, I'm not sure if I'm as thrilled with the movie adaptation before knowing these things.
Gotcha.
It's kind of like the Dracula thing, where you said the book was a lot more emotional.
Yeah.
And a lot more... I mean, it doesn't deviate as far as...
Yeah, Dracula was a fucking shocking level of like...
Yeah. Bram
Where the
Stoker's
fuck did you get that shit?
Yeah.
None of this happened.
How did you go from this book to this movie? I'd like to know.
None of that happened in this book.
Right.
The fuck you talking about?
Whereas, like, it's
There's maybe some stuff that was in the
way
Shining
more
that you
mild.
should have needed.
Yeah. So, in the book, Jack is a much more loving father. And it's,
Gotcha.
like, so much more emotional. Like, to the point where when Jack feels the hotel taking over him,
Yeah.
he like fights it for a second and tells Danny he says, run away quick and remember how much I love you.
Wow.
Before
Man, that would have been so much more powerful, I feel
That's
like,
what
if
I'm
he
saying,
had actually
yeah.
said that. Because in the movie, they make him, from the very get-go,
and it's
they make him like an unkind,
yes,
like
but
kind of abusive.
It's supposed to be a slow burn into him being like a nice, loving father into the hotel taking over him slowly.
Yeah, yeah.
But immediately, Jack's an asshole.
Yeah.
Especially with Wendy. That's where you see it first. Like, where he snaps at her the first day he's working on writing.
Yeah.
It's really weird, but it just, that was so sweet. And also, it said that Wendy is way more confident and bold and intelligent and not so meek and...
Yeah, the movie makes her very meek.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, she gains some confidence towards the end, but you know, the majority of the film, she kind of acquiesces a lot.
Mm-hmm. There's also a lot more explanation about how the house has its own abilities.
Yeah, it's its own entity.
It's its own entity, and it's not... Because I feel like the movie kind of makes it seem like it is... Like, Jack also has an ability.
I feel like the movie itself makes it more like a haunting, and that he's become possessed by like one of the spirits
in the house,
versus
not the house.
House being the thing that is trapping these people in here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And while Kubrick, he did say that. So the picture.
Yeah.
The picture of Jack at the end from like the 1920s.
Yes.
He did say that was because it was the hotel absorbing Jack as if he'd been there always, even though he hadn't. But it was just, that's what it does to everyone.
Yes.
Whereas when
it's like a collection.
Yeah, when Delbert was telling him, like, you've always been here. It's that kind of thing.
Yeah. It's like the hotel tricking you into believing.
Yeah.
And kind of furthering that cabin fever.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I also, in the film, in the book, both Danny, Wendy, and Richard make it out alive. Like, they all escape.
Oh.
And that feels really nice because I feel like
because Richard dies.
Yeah. Jack hits him in the axe, like hits him in the chest with an axe.
Yeah.
And he's just killed immediately.
Book, and all three of them make it out.
Yeah, and it felt so pointless because here's Danny reaching out to Richard, and he is all the way in Miami, takes a flight.
Yeah.
Like, literally through the whole movie, he's like going on this adventure to get back to the hotel, and the second he gets there,
he's killed.
And it's like, okay, then what?
Yeah.
And then also they left out a part where it was like the issue with the hotel, like one of the big like oh no, is that there was like a pressure issue buildup in the boiler room. So if Jack didn't take care of that, which is one of the reasons that he needed to stay there as the caretaker, was to help that. Otherwise, the whole thing would blow up. Yeah. So I feel like if that were also in there, it would have added another level of like, not suspense. Just more tension, I think.
Yeah. No, I get it. No, I totally get that.
I mean, I do like the movie. I think it's done really well. And there's so many great technical aspects.
And I completely agree with that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say, I've got some beef with Diane Johnson.
And this is the writer.
This is the writer,
the writer of the script
the script for the film.
Okay. Different than like, you're not mad at Kubrick, who is the director. I'm mad at
Diane Johnson. Okay.
And why is that?
So Stephen King. Okay, I'm still kind of mad at Kubrick. So Stephen King wrote a script for this.
Yeah.
And let me just say, Stephen King is a fucking legend. He has written so many stories. This man is like in his 70s.
Yeah.
And he's written 65 books, I believe. And that's not even including his like 200 plus short stories.
Oh, yeah.
He wrote Misery. He wrote Pet Sematary. He I list. It. He wrote, obviously, the Shining series. He wrote the Dark Tower series.
Yes.
He, man wrote so
He's prolific.
much.
He is prolific. That's why everyone knows who he is.
And
he's Stephen fucking King.
He's Stephen fucking King. Kubrick rejected the script, obviously.
Okay.
And then hired Diane, she's a doctor of Gothic studies. So cool. And they adapted the novel into the movie script based on Kubrick's vision.
Yeah.
But it wasn't an actual interpretation of the book.
Gotcha.
So,
it was like their own version of it.
Yeah. And then Johnson literally said she looked down on Stephen King, and his success. She literally said...
That's jealousy.
Yeah, it is. She said, "The Shining is not part of great literature. It is scary, it is effective, and it works. But it is also true that one has less scruples when destroying it. One is aware that a great work of art is not being destroyed."
What?
Right. That makes no fucking sense.
No.
I'm lost. And then she suggested to Kubrick that they kill Danny off, that he should die.
But then that would change the story.
Right. Needless to say, Stephen King, it is known that he does not like the film. He didn't like it at all.
I'm not surprised.
I'm not either. If someone takes your work and shits on it like that,
yeah,
same.
Even though it is a cult classic.
Yeah.
He himself, the original writer of the story that was used, doesn't like it because it deviates so deeply.
Yep. So he hated it. So he took his book and then created his own mini-series from it in 1997 with the actual Stanley Hotel being used in the filming, unlike the movie. So, yeah. King also, so King's publisher tried to talk him out of publishing The Shining because they said it was like, oh, it would be your third horror novel and then you'll get typecast as a horror writer and you've been reading and writing and trying to publish horror stories, since you were super young. And then Stephen King was like, this is a compliment.
Yeah.
I want to be a horror writer. And then went ahead with the publication.
Yeah, why the fuck would... obviously he wants to.
Yeah.
He wouldn't be doing it if he didn't want to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but okay, again with the whole Wendy being strong and independent, like intelligent. Kubrick said he thought the audience wouldn't buy that a woman like that was stuck with Jack. Which
is bullshit, because anyone can be stuck with anyone.
It's true.
That
belittles women who go through things like that.
Yes.
And just people who go through things like that so much.
Who attempt to stay strong regardless of the bullshit that they're dealing with.
Because 9 times out of 10, no one realizes that that's going to be the situation until they're already
too deep
in it. Because nobody shows their real colors.
And by that point, it's, well, maybe I can do something to help. Or maybe I can change
because it was
something.
it was good at the beginning. It was better before.
Yeah. Maybe there's something I could do that could help adjust it.
Yeah. Yeah. So I feel like that is kind of meh. Anyway, besides all of that, I did do some research on the actual Stanley Hotel. Obviously. Okay, hold on. First, let me say, I'm not trying to shit on Kubrick or Johnson, but they kind of they irked me a little with that one. I'm not gonna lie, and that's fine.
Yeah,
still a good movie. Maybe not exactly what the book asked for.
Yeah,
don't like that they shat on Stephen King like that.
Yeah,
it was literally a god at this point. How do you write that much in your lifetime? I don't understand. Because his books, like I said, are hundreds and hundreds of pages long. Ooh. Anyway, back to the actual Stanley Hotel. So, obviously, it is... the Overlook Hotel is based off of the Stanley Hotel, which is in Colorado. It was built in 1909 by freelance Oscar Stanley, who was supposed to die of consumption, but believed he was healed by the fresh air and the sunlight in Colorado at the top of these mountains, and decided to build the hotel for his wife and other guests. And these guests would be, at that time, they were definitely more upper class type of people. Obviously, that's not really the case today, just because, over time, that's just what happens. Kind of like in the early 1900s, everybody, like, only super rich people could go see the movies.
Yes. Yeah.
So it was kind of like that. So there's that. And then, so yeah, a man was cured of consumption and was like, let me build a hotel here for other people.
Yeah.
See what happens. So this is where Stephen King stayed with his wife, and they stayed in room 217. I don't understand why Kubrick changed it to 237.
Uncertain.
It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me, but that's beside the point. So that room specifically is where the chief housekeeper, her name was Elizabeth Wilson, and in 1911 she was injured by an explosion that caused by a lit lantern. So there was like a gas leak, and she went into the room and like lit a lantern, because by that point it was still like flame. Huge explosion.
Figured.
But she survived.
Yo.
Even though someone said they saw a bathtub fly into the air during the explosion, like from one of the rooms.
Damn.
So she lived, and she continued to work in the hotel after she recovered. And obviously, most of the people, they're all dead now.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say most, all. This is in 1909 that it was built. So all those original people, not here anymore. However, when she did die, people today say that she still goes into that room specifically, and it's actually really sweet. She's not a gross.
She's not a scary ghost.
Decaying, nasty body old lady that they depicted in the movie. People say that they will wake up to find their clothes folded
Oh,
for them.
like she takes care of them.
Yeah, and the room is more tidy than when they left it, and she like is still taking care of things.
She's like, look, man, I still want to just chill out and do what I'm doing, man. Ain't no problem with that.
Yep. It's said that the 4th floor and the concert halls are the spot that have the most paranormal activity.
Okay.
They'll hear music playing through the hall, which is said to be Stanley's wife Flora. She loved music. She loved playing piano. He like built that hall specifically for her.
So they kind of do that a little bit in the movie where they've got the whole like music playing and then the party and all that kind of stuff happening.
Yeah.
So they touch into it a little bit.
Yeah. So they'll hear music playing, there'll be doors opening and closing and items disappearing on the 4th floor. I don't think the concert hall is on the 4th floor, but those are the 2 most active spots.
Yeah.
And it again it's believed that the spirits of Stanley and his wife Flora are still at the hotel, just taking care of business.
Yeah.
And then some specific rooms were room 401. There's a perv ghost who touches women inappropriately.
Not surprised.
By the closets.
When is there not a perv ghost?
Right?
When is there not?
And then in room 428, there's a cowboy who just sits over at the edge of the bed watching over you.
Huh.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
So here's a couple other little facts. So the hedge maze in the film.
Yeah.
And the bar.
Yeah.
Okay, so the hedge maze was added and the bar was remodeled after the movie came out to reflect it more. So there's actually a hedge maze now.
Cool. That's actually really cool. I like that they added that to it. Yeah.
And redid the bar to make it look like it's from the movie. There's also, in the hotel's main staircase, it is known by mediums and other people who are sensitive to the supernatural. Yeah. That is a vortex.
Yes.
For spirits.
That hotel is quite haunted.
Yes. So this hotel, when Stephen was staying here with his wife, how he came, this is how obviously the whole story came to be.
Yeah.
And he said, in late September of 1974, Tabby, his wife, and I spent a night at a grand old hotel in Estes Park, the Stanley. Wandering through its corridors, I thought that it seemed the perfect, maybe the archetypal, setting for a ghost story. That night, I dreamed of my 3-year-old son running through the corridors, looking back over his shoulder, eyes wide, screaming. I got up, lit a cigarette, sat in the chair looking out the window at the Rockies, and by the time my cigarette was done, I had the bones of my book firmly set in my mind. Of course, because he's a legend.
Yeah.
Just takes him one cig and he's got it.
One cig and he's good. Good to go, man.
Right?
Hell yeah. Don't you wish that's how that worked?
I wish that's how that works so badly. But yeah, there's so much information based on the book, based on the hotel, just other little bits. There's so much, and there's gonna be even more with Dr. Sleep. But
yes,
that is all I have for my notes.
All right, so you got some 1-star goodies?
I do. I think we'll see how it goes. I tried to pick the smallest ones that are also like good, because
even if they're long, they're fine.
All of the reviews on this movie were literally paragraphs long,
and that might be more because just of how much time has passed.
It's true. So people have had more time to like sit and think and watch and reflect and So here's the first one. Yeah. Rarely have I seen a masterpiece of literature turned into a pile of horse manure.
Damn.
Problems. Number 1, Jack Nicholson, hugely miscast. The descent into madness is supposed to be gradual. This Jack looked like he was already going to murder his family. 2, the script. Although the names and basic plot are in place, Guy Goes Loopy in Hotel, a lot of scenes in the film I could not remember reading, e.g. 2 girls, blood in lift.
Yeah.
Why did Kubrick drift from the book? Mostly he didn't drift in A Clockwork Orange. So why here?
Mm-hmm.
Plus, the characters were one-dimensional cardboard cutouts, so how could I pity them?
Damn.
This next one, oh my god. Shelley Duvall, number 3, Shelley Duvall. Deserved to die. She was that annoying. The Wendy in the book is strong-willed and not a pathetic loser. The reason they went to the Overlook was to save their marriage.
Yeah.
Weird, yeah.
That's literally the reason behind it, yeah.
Because, he still did hurt Danny, like, broke his arm.
Yes.
In the books. But they were trying to fix themselves from that and repair.
Yes. They were trying to get better as people.
Yeah. 4. Ending. Jack did not freeze to death in the snow. In the book, it showed that Jack was still human enough to recognize his love for his son. The frozen scene here left me with a feeling of disgust that the pinnacle of the book had been replaced for a cheap shock. Watch the TV series instead, but read the book first. I resonated with this 1 star.
Yeah. I mean, I get it.
Yeah. Although
knowing that he's supposed to have survived in the book, and it would have been much more. I feel like if they had gone closer to the book, there would have been a totally different emotional
Jack
impact.
still dies, but Richard lives.
No, I understand that.
Because I'm pretty sure he's blown up by the hotel.
But regardless, it's still the idea of the emotional connection that's missing. Yeah. Because it's the same concept. It's the same concept as Dracula. It's the idea that certain characters were not main characters. Certain characters were considered and seen as more emotionally open and intense. And it's like, sometimes I don't know why directors don't want to have emotion in their movies.
Right. And at the same time, okay, I will say I do love Jack Nicholson, especially in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Like,
and he could have, if he had a different script and had a different character aspect, he could have totally done
plays this character very well.
Yeah.
I think. Especially,
I think he could have done this even with the kindness elements. Could have been good.
Yeah.
Really
he definitely
good.
could have done that very well.
He's a great ass actor.
He
Come
is.
on, guys.
It's Jack Nicholson. Hello.
Yeah, exactly.
I think whatever he was that's what he was, the instruction he was given.
Exactly.
That's what he worked with.
So he had to work with it. Yeah.
And then Shelley Duvall. Shelley Duvall. Come on.
Yeah.
Don't say she deserved to die.
Yeah. No. I mean, no. Even in when they were doing, it's what I've been trying to fucking look up this whole time. But I remember seeing a post somewhere, and I can't remember if it was Instagram or Twitter or whatever the fuck, but it was about The Shining and the filming of it, and Shelley Duvall on set, and kind of her and Kubrick and stuff like that, kind of being like, even just in general, her on the set being more demanding and more like, in addition to and a part of this kind of mentality. I mean, it even had to do with like how she opened the door that was like packed with snow, and like how would you get it and all that kind of stuff, and her kind of slamming through it, and it's the idea, it's like all of those little elements kind of play into that stronger character mentality. And like Shelley Duvall didn't let anything slide while she was on set either, even for her and herself.
Let me tell you about one scene that's in here when she's dragging Jack's body into the pantry.
Yeah.
And she's trying to open the door, and she's like freaking out because she can't get it open. He's like waking up. This bitch has been opening the pantry for probably months now. How did you not know that there was a little pin?
Well,
I guess when you're panicked, sure, but
that's
at the same time,
because it's the same thing as when you've been opening your front door for years. How is it that now when you're about to be there's someone following you, you can't get inside your house? Yeah, that's the same concept, because fear and panic are very powerful tools that will throw you through a loop.
If I were at my house, and there was someone chasing me into my house,
yes,
I would not be able to get in, because it's like a key, but like I've always had issues with it. Like I have to put it in a certain way, otherwise it won't unlock. So if I were being chased, I'd be dead.
You're gone.
I'm gone. I'm done.
It's over.
It's over. Yeah. Anyway, I really want to read the book now and watch the miniseries.
Yeah.
And just to see the difference.
Between
and maybe
the two, yeah.
I can give you guys an update
Yeah.
at some point
Yeah.
about it. It'll not be next week.
Oh, yeah.
I don't have time for that. Busy
I mean,
girl.
shit, even technically an update from something that we did do. You want to I'm going to be able to show her because I can't show you guys. What the original, this is talking about the nun.
Oh, God.
This is a weird one. What the actual original Valak was supposed to look like.
I bet it's so bad. Or is it really?
The original Valak wasn't a nun, but this unused animated winged demon. And it's freaky looking.
Really?
That
Oh my
was the original
God.
Valak. It's terrifying. I would not have been okay with that.
Who created that?
So it's like this leathery skin, like yellow eyes, sharp, massive open mouth
like
with like
it's still
teeth
kind
and
of
blood.
It's weird because it still kind of gives nun.
Yeah.
But like the sexy Halloween costume nun that people do with like the leather.
And it's like massive, like multi horns, and I'm just like, that shit's gross. If
It's
we would have
scary.
seen that in the movie, I'd have been out.
I would have walked out.
I would have been gone.
Yep.
The Valak we got is way nicer than this fucking creature
Yeah,
that they wanted us to see.
I mean, I'd still love it no matter what. I would definitely be way more terrified.
You would be way more terrified of the nun
Yeah, because
if that was the fucking thing that was in the movie.
yeah, it scared me when I was like 15, but
Oh yeah.
that
Oh yeah.
would have traumatized me.
And like, again, we did Candyman last year, and I found something that in, I guess, the cult classic film Candyman from 1992 used real bees during filming,
Yeah.
and he was actually stung 23 times
Oh my gosh.
and negotiated $1,000 bonus for every sting.
good.
Hell yeah.
Good.
23 stings, $1,000 a piece. Fuck yeah, motherfucker. I'd go for that shit all
Dude,
the
that's like
time.
how much I make in a year.
In just 23 bee stings.
That's less. That's way less than what I make in a year. Never mind, I'm
In
part-time.
23
That's
bee
over.
stings for one movie.
Oh my god, that's twice what I make in a year.
Not to count what he got on top of the movie
That's
of
crazy.
playing as the main villain, main character.
If you can negotiate your way through it,
Hell yeah.
yeah.
Hell yeah. Anyway, those were just little things that I've been slowly, anytime I find something, I'm saving stuff to talk about. But yeah.
Good,
I've
yeah.
got something for Nightmare on Elm Street.
Okay.
That's kind of funny.
All right.
So, but yeah. You got another 1 star? Is that it?
Yeah, just one more.
Got it. Go for it.
All right, let's see. Do not waste your time on this movie. It is one of the best examples of a botched translation from print to screen ever.
Clearly you haven't seen Dracula. Clearly you haven't seen Dracula.
Right, that part. It has been inexcusably Kubrickized
Oh.
to make it fit in more easily with the rest of Stanley Kubrick's body of work. Kubrick takes the basic idea from the book, and I do mean the most absolutely basic outline of the story, which is true, he did, and changes it into something that is not even remotely scary. Yeah, I was never scared.
No, it's not scary.
It's not scary. Like, even Johnson admits that the book was scary,
Yeah.
and this movie was not that.
yeah.
So, okay. In the book, the hotel itself is the fourth main character, slowly driving Jack Torrance insane.
Yeah.
In this utter waste of film, Jack was crazy when they got there, and the isolation from the outside world is what takes him over the edge.
Yeah, I would agree.
Genius.
I would agree
Great
with that.
writing. I wish I could see that.
Yeah.
In this bastardized version,
Damn.
there is no point in having Danny possessed of psychic powers. That's kind of true, actually. Other than Richard, but they kill Richard off immediately, so... Meh.
Yeah, him having the Shining doesn't...
Did
like,
nothing.
the only thing that him having the Shining does is help for Dr. Sleep. But Dr. Sleep could have been a totally different character from a totally different thing.
It's really true. It's true.
The only
And
reason why it connects, technically, because it's technically the sequel. So he's supposed to have The Shining, but he wasn't old enough to do anything with it or do anything about it.
That doesn't make any sense. Because Richard was an older guy. And he also had The Shining.
And I understand that.
And in this scenario, like in this storyline, the hotel wants to take Danny because of his power.
Oh, yeah. No,
That's
I
the whole
understand
point.
that.
So
I think having Richard survive in the book, maybe in the book, him having the powers
and helps
is
him
more
through
beneficial.
it. Yeah.
And because of the fact that Dr. Sleep is the sequel.
Mm-hmm. The thing, because when
then
Richard
it explains
survives, they all move to, I want to say Florida.
No clue. I can't remember.
I don't remember. But they all move to Florida, I think. And then Richard, helps Danny through the loss of his dad.
Yeah. Yeah.
So maybe he also helps him with his powers that way?
I would think so.
But it's so crazy. Maybe, okay, well, it also makes sense that he wouldn't really want to have those powers since it caused so much trauma as a kid for him.
Out of podcast, have you watched Dr. Sleep yet?
I have seen it. It's been a while.
Okay.
So that's why
in
I'm
Dr. Sleep, some of it's explained, a lot of that's explained.
Yeah.
So
that's what I thought.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
Like a significant amount of it is explained, at least on Danny's end.
Yeah. I'm going to watch that. I think tomorrow's that. Yeah, tomorrow.
So, yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. It could have been better.
Yeah. In this bastardized version, there is no point in having Danny possessed of psychic powers, nor of making the hotel itself haunted. Those 2 points, which should be the most important facts of the story, instead take a backseat to a very predictable, very generic story of an already unstable man finally snapping. Yeah. Do yourself a favor and instead of this absolute sin of a film, watch the made-for-TV miniseries starring Steven Weber. It is much more faithful to the book and therefore a much better and well-worked story. So all of these are
I feel like...
All of these are saying go watch the miniseries that Stephen King helped.
I feel like that this movie is a true crime drama with supernatural elements.
Yes.
Versus it's supposed to be a supernatural film that has
which is kind of what the book is about.
Supposed to be more
because they're
of that.
saying all of these comments and 1-star reviews were just saying how
drastically
important the hotel is
too. Yeah.
And even this one said that the hotel is a fourth main character.
Yeah, because the hotel is what's making people go crazy and then it consumes them and uses them.
Yeah. And I think that
honestly, if they'd done that, it would explain more things in Dr. Sleep.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of things were kind of left unexplained. However, I think that the movie is a very, very roughly inspired by the book. Let's be real. It's not a real adaptation.
I love how we've now had 2 movies that have been like that.
Yeah, Dracula. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So if you want to go read this book and then go watch
have a better
this movie,
experience with the book, and then see how different it is.
Yeah, but I would say
because it makes me want to read it too.
If you really love the Shining movie, you've got to kind of separate the two. Yes. Otherwise, you're going to be disappointed.
So even for me as a person, it drives me batshit insane when people are like. And I know
the book was better.
Exactly.
It's always going to be.
The book is always going to be better because movies can't be 10 hours long.
Right.
Facts.
I mean, and you could turn it into a TV show.
Exactly.
You could do that.
But there's
also
is the
miniseries, the whole point of the miniseries.
The concept that it's when movies deviate so freaking hard from their source material. Especially, again, referring back to Dracula, the fact that the entire cast read the book. They made the entire cast and crew read the book.
Yep.
And still ended up with that shit.
Yep.
How?
I don't know.
How? So the point is, there's a level of it where no matter what, it's even kind of like, okay, this is a movie and movie adaptation version of it, and it's Disney related, so buckle up. Mulan.
Yes.
The animated versus the live action.
Oh. Ugh.
So,
Don't even get me started.
No. Because here's the truth. The Mulan live action is an amazing film.
No, yeah.
It is an amazing
It is.
Asian action film.
Yes.
It is beautifully cinematic.
Absolutely.
It's got great storyline. It's got an interesting character development. It's got fascinating shit. The animated Mulan film is beautifully animated, got great music, it's got great storytelling and character development and fun. They are not anywhere near each other.
Nope.
On the spectrum.
Nope.
One is an Asian action film, and one is a Disney animated film. End of sentence.
Yes.
You cannot see one and attempt to connect it to the other.
No.
At all.
However,
whereas like Beauty and the Beast and are fine.
Yeah.
Whereas Cinderella is fine. Whereas Ariel is for the most part fine, but adds a lot more details to the story that I think were desperately needed. Personally. So much more. The live action Ariel is fantastic. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It explains so many more things, and I think gives better development to certain characters that we needed.
Although Scuttle being able to breathe and speak underwater was kind of weird.
It's because the type of bird he is.
I guess. They can speak under there?
Well, you know.
I don't know.
Well, like puffins.
My only complaint.
Puffins can like spend underwater for like forever, and obviously this bird is not a puffin, but still. Yeah. But it's like
it just threw me off because I was just used to seeing Scuttle like above the water and speaking there.
Well,
but it makes sense because it's dangerous for the mermaids.
Well, also Scuttle isn't even really in the animated movie very much at all.
No.
Whereas he has much more prominent character, and even just the idea that like, instead of all the sisters living in the palace, they live in their own oceans.
Yeah, which makes sense.
And each one of them is a ruler of a different ocean, which makes so much more sense and actually gives credence to the different girls instead of the animated one where it's just like, we all start with the letter A and we're all just having fun.
Yep.
You know? I'm like, that's fine. I like that they all have different names. Each of them looks like a different creature that lives in their ocean, which is fascinating and beautiful.
That means
costume design.
Mr. Trident over there was
I mean, he is
getting
the
down
king
and dirty.
Of the seas.
He's getting down and dirty.
I like the fact that they did the thing that I wanted them to do. Because everyone, even fanfic people, even everybody all over the world has always and consistently makes Ursula and him like family, like related, like siblings.
Oh, they are.
And so the fact that like in this one we really actually get to hear it said, because in the animated film
he's like,
you would have never fucking
my brother. Yeah. Well, you hear it in like the second ones.
Well, yeah,
where it's
but
like,
how often do people watch the second?
Me? Hi,
hello, me too. But regardless,
how many can hear that?
How many real people remember that there was a second movie and that there was one that had a daughter?
Right.
Do any of you know who Melody is?
I know Melody. Listen. Are you ready for this?
I know
Are you
Melody.
Are you ready for this?
What?
With my Ariel TV, do you remember that?
Yes.
My Ariel TV. I would sit and I would pull clothes from my closet and I would do outfit changes and I would pretend to be a mermaid in my bed. I would pretend to be Melody and I would Melody specifically.
Yeah.
And I would I would pretend to swim in my bed and like say the lines with the movie.
Yeah.
And sing the songs.
Yeah.
And pretend that I was literally in the movie.
Hell yeah.
And I have no idea if my parents know about this. If they I don't remember if they ever walked in while I was doing these things with clothes everywhere and me doing outfit changes and acting out the scenes. But yeah, hardcore Melody stan.
See, whereas for me, it was me in my room with Barbie movies, specifically Barbie Island Princess.
Actually, that was not
Barbie Island Princess, and I would have the sing-alongs on, and I'd be hard, music up, going, and it would sound like I had multiple people in my room.
I think
That was me.
my
I was that
favorite
kid.
ones was like Barbie Rapunzel and Barbie 12 Dancing Princesses.
Oh yeah, those will always be my favorites.
Oh yeah.
But I've also developed a love for
Island Princess is also
there was
really
a
good
space
though.
one that's more recently, and for some reason my brain can't remember what it's called, but I love that one. It was beautiful. Yes. Always love 12 Dancing Princesses. Always and forever.
Yep.
But yeah, there's just, you know.
I live and breathe.
Yeah.
So good.
But
You know, I could make a live action and be my... I could still do it. I'll play baby.
hey, we had a dope ass, like, scary version, spooky, scary version of
You can't spill that. You can't spill
stuff.
that. You can't.
I won't.
You can't.
I
You
won't.
can't spoil it.
I won't, but it would have been so cool.
What do you mean would have been? I still have plans. That wasn't me being funny, haha. I'm literally getting a theater degree and then business, and then I'm going to make it happen. Period.
Because it's a good ass idea.
Like, I don't care. Like, I will pitch the idea and let people run with it, but it is fantastic.
It's a great ass idea. It's a great ass idea.
Yeah. Yeah. And we got to pitch it together. We got to make a board
Yeah. Yeah.
and like a portfolio and shit.
Mm-hmm. Go to Disney and
Go
be
to
like, hey, yo,
Disney.
motherfuckers, here's a great ass movie idea.
Like, it's so good. Like, you guys would be baffled. You guys would
It'd
be
be so
baffled.
good. It would be such a fascinating concept to the stories.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways,
Yeah. Oh, we went on a
So-
whole tangent.
that is our episode, and obviously we've already explained it in the previous episode, which was the chit chat that we had of our Reddit horror stories. Hopefully you guys had some fun with that. But yeah, our format's going to be a little different just because school's been chaos, and doing movies in one episode is a lot
Let me just say,
and intense.
it's my fault.
It is 1000% her fault.
Yeah.
She
It's on me,
understand.
and I'm going to own it.
understand that when we initially started to think about the process of having multiple movies in one episode,
I mean, I tried to express that I knew it was going to be stressful for me, and I wasn't sure if I was going to do it, but I let myself just be like, no, I'll be fine.
it's not even just that. She also let herself get ahead of herself. Because originally the length of the stories was supposed to be 3 paragraphs for the beginning, the middle, and the end. This bitch, every movie, put 8 paragraphs. What? A piece.
No.
And I'm like, okay. And then also had 6 to 10 paragraphs worth of notes. And was shocked. And I'm like, yeah, I meant to make this easier on you.
Yeah, it didn't work.
I literally intentionally tried to make it easier on you.
It didn't work.
So,
It didn't work. But honestly,
but at least now she's adapted the shorter story
yeah.
format.
So now we're going to do shorter stories. So if you want to go get more content, go watch the movie.
Yeah. This is we're giving you the taste of the film in 3 nice little paragraphs.
Yep.
We're giving you context about other stuff involved in the film.
Yep.
Now go have fun.
Go watch it. And you know, I think we've made you comfortable enough so you don't have to be scared. If you are scared, we've given you so much information.
You can see the elements of the movie and see them as elements instead of scary spots.
Yeah. If you are scared of this movie, which I don't know who would be, but
Yeah. I mean, during the time that
Fair
the
enough.
movie came out would probably be
fair enough.
very terrifying.
But I'm saying, like, you
Yeah.
know how the blood elevator works now?
Yeah.
You
know how the scary scene with the twins happens?
Yeah.
You know he goes crazy.
You know he goes crazy.
And you also know that it is very much nothing like the book.
Correct.
So there you go.
Yeah, so if you've read the book and you're like, oh, that's too scary, I can't watch the movie, you're good.
The movie ain't nothing like it, my dude.
Nope. But yeah.
So yeah.
So a different format. I hope you enjoy.
Yeah. And again, we've barely scratched our 1 year. So obviously we're still getting the kinks out.
Oh, yeah. For sure.
So I hope you will look forward to the next episode, which is Doctor Sleep.
Woo.
So for some of the movies, we'll have the other one as its own separate film, or we're just going to condense it down to one and kind of talk about the rest of them. You'll see as we move on through the rest of the year.
Yes.
But yeah, so
You get what you get and you don't throw a fit. Because either way, it's cool. So
yeah. Anyway, so send us an email at horrorunmasked@gmail.com. Follow us at Instagram and Twitter at Horror Unmasked. Listen to us on Spotify and iTunes at Horror Unmasked Podcast. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Horror Unmasked Podcast. And I think with that,
There's only one thing left to ask. Will you fear?
or will you fear not?